Hi, my name's Beth, and I'm a programming assistant for the St. Johns County Public Library System. We are celebrating St. Johns County's 200th anniversary all year long, and we are also celebrating the best summer ever as part of your St. Johns County Public Library System. So to put those two celebrations together, I'm here at the historic Jose Tovar House, which is part of the oldest house museum complex. It is in downtown St. Augustine, and I'm going to be going inside and getting a sneak peek of the St. Augustine Surf Culture Museum and also the new Marineland exhibit that's on the top floor. So let's go inside and see what that's all about. Hi, thank you both so much for meeting with me today. Can you tell me who you are and a little bit about yourselves?
Sure, my name is Megan Wilson, and I'm the Executive Director of the St. Augustine Historical Society.
And I'm Tara McGinnis. I'm the Facility Historian and Manager of Community Development for Marineland Dolphin Adventure.
It's so exciting to be here at the very beginning of this new venture. Can you tell me a little bit about why I'm here?
Sure. So we are standing in the historic Jose Tovar House right now. It's a first Spanish period colonial structure, and it's located at the oldest house museum grounds. In the downtown area. We're located right across the street from the National Guard on the bayfront. And we are about to open three brand new museum spaces here at the Tovar House. We're very excited about. They're opening Friday, May 14th. And this downstairs area is going to be the St. Augustine Surf Culture Museum. So we have, this is the culmination of about 3 years worth of research. And it really started, like I said, about 3 years ago, and the catalyst for the project was actually this article right here. I don't know if you can see it, but it is an article from the St. Augustine Evening Record from 1915 that talks about this new craze, that's coming into Florida called surfing, and it talks about the surfboard making. And so when we ran across this article, we came to the realization that we have over a century of surf culture here in St. Augustine. So we decided that we should look into that some more.
Can you give me a little tour of what people can expect to see here at the museum?
Absolutely.
All right.
So the first room here, this is kind of starts you off on the Surf Culture Museum, and this gives you a general history of Florida surfing to kind of put it into context. So we really, like I said, we start off with our own article from 1915. When the first article in Florida to discuss surfing is this article from Daytona Beach from 1909. So we weren't very far after that article. We have a historic bathing suit collection that we're also going to display that's on loan to us from the Beaches Museum in Jacksonville.
How cool.
Yeah. So this first room kind of discusses some of our earliest board makers and surfers. And then we come into the second room, which is still in the process of being constructed, but this is the golden era of surfing. So we're going to talk about the 1960s and when the culture really starts to emerge in the United States.
Wow. Oh, another bathing suit. That's great.
I love historic bathing suits, historic records. We'll take our visitors through our local legends sections. We'll talk about our 13 top local legends in town. This is an interactive museum, so you can pick up these receivers here to hear some snippets from our over 70 oral histories that we conducted to do this museum.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's been a really fun project. We thoroughly enjoyed talking to the community, getting their feedback. We're going to talk about surf shops. We're going to talk about our local shapers, the best spots. We're going to have a replica of the pier here. And we will, of course, also feature a lot of our local shapers and the boards that they've made throughout the years. We get a little technical. We give people an understanding of what it takes to make waves, what it means to make a surfboard, surfboard design. So giving people kind of a better understanding of what it all entails. We talk about things like territorialism and localism and the surf spots and some clashes that have taken place over the years. And then we get into other clubs and contests. The Hugh Shaw Memorial is one of Flagler College's longest running programs, and Hugh Shaw was a young man who passed away in the 80s, and to honor him, they hold this contest annually, this longboard contest, and mother took the shirts from each year and she made us this beautiful quilt.
That's really cool.
Yeah, and then we'll also talk about surfers and giving back and how in the various ways that surfers give back to the community. So we've just thoroughly enjoyed the project.
That's really neat. I see sometimes at the pier, actually just a few Saturdays ago, I saw a group of surfers doing
the Probably Surf Quest.
Yes, I thought that was really, really sweet. Well,
Yeah.
this is really cool. So we're filming this in May, but this is going to air in July, so it'll probably look a little bit different by the time people come in. But it's shaping up really well.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
All right. So we've just walked upstairs, and what is this space?
Well, this is just the most amazing coming together of a lot of hard work and a really cool coincidence and some amazing camaraderie and partnership. I am the facility historian for Marineland, and Marineland has been around since 1938, so there's a lot of history at our local aquarium here in St. Augustine. And other than a little exhibit here and there on property down at Marineland, we've never really been able to truly show off the amazing stuff that we have. And so toward the end of 2020, I reached out to Megan and I said, hey, do you know about any spaces that might be available anywhere in downtown St. Augustine where we could put together a little Marineland display? And she said, oh my goodness, we're building this surf exhibit downstairs in the Tovar house. Marineland would be a perfect complement to that, because we're already going to have ocean lovers here to come on upstairs and learn more about Marineland's history. So this exhibit here is meant to do a couple of things. It's meant to give folks information who don't know about Marineland and who didn't know all of the amazing things that happen there, which I'll tell you about. But it's also really meant to honor all those people whose shoulders we absolutely stand on now. All the scientists, all the animal care professionals, all the filmmakers, all the sort of big important people in the history of Florida tourism, architects. So many firsts happened at Marineland, and those people deserve to be celebrated. So this exhibit is really meant to do that. So we hope to inform some folks who had no idea and bring some nostalgia back to some folks who maybe grew up going to Marineland. Maybe their school field trips were there or their family vacations were there. People honeymooned there. There was hotels and restaurants. And I'm really looking forward to meeting some people who have stories to tell me about their experiences.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, can we have a little sneak peek?
Absolutely.
All
right. So when you're coming up the stairs from the surf exhibit, you'll see just some fun old photographs of Marineland back in the day. And again, Marineland opened in 1938. So we're talking over 80 years of history and evolution and change and adapting. When we come on in this room, at first, it's really just sort of an introduction, and some neat old newspaper articles, the St. Augustine record from the day of opening, just announcing who we were, what our big plans were, and then the day after opening, when they announced that 30,000 people showed up, and that was totally unexpected, and it really kind of helped to guide the direction that Marineland went in. A little tribute to some of our founders. We've got Cornelius Vanderbilt Whitney, W. Douglas Burton. Our third founder was Ilya Tolstoy, and he can actually be seen in this photograph behind Eleanor Roosevelt when she came to visit in 1938. And by the way, that's Tolstoy, as in Leo Tolstoy, that's his grandson. And again, a little tribute to some of our employees and the uniforms that they wore. And then as we move further in, really, this whole section here is about marine studios. So before Marineland was Marineland, it was Marine Studios. And that's because it was actually built not to be a tourist attraction or a public aquarium, but to be an underwater film studio. 1938, scuba diving hadn't been invented, underwater cameras hadn't been invented, so it was really hard for filmmakers to get that kind of underwater footage. And because all three of our founders had ties to Hollywood, they knew this, and they knew that there was some kind of a niche that they could get themselves into. So this here is all about the films that were made at Marine Studios, some of the equipment that was used, and this is really just the tip of the iceberg. There's so much more great stuff. A lot of sort of sentimental old brochures, old guidebooks, and then just for the folks who are interested in the evolution of business, some really neat documents put together by founders about the way this business was going to be run, and a lot of you can feel the pride that was involved in making a business that was like nothing else here. Over in this section, we focus on the history of diving. So again, like I mentioned, this was before scuba diving had been invented, and yet staff needed to be able to go in the water to clean, and also all of the animals were fed by hand underwater. And so these big, heavy, 60-pound dive helmets were worn, and this is actually an air pump. So somebody at the surface had to manually pump air to the divers.
Wow.
With a hose that was connected to the helmet. And then that metal basket in there is what they would put the fish in to feed the animals. Yeah. So one of the things that I always like to point out to folks is that what Marineland really gave people the opportunity to see animals in a way that they had never ever dreamed of before. This is a coastal community, and yet so many people nowadays as well, actually, but definitely back then, had no connection to the oceans. And anything they thought about ocean animals was really about fear and dominance. It was an animal that maybe we hunted because we were going to eat it, or we hunted because we were afraid of it, or we hunted because it was competition for the food that we wanted. But there really wasn't a lot of love for oceans and for marine life, and there was a lot of fear. And when people came to marine studios, they saw these animals in a way that was totally not threatening, so that changed their perspective. But then they also saw the staff with those animals caring for them. Animals that previously had been seen as very dangerous or as a food source. Or imagine this, dolphins, so beloved now, right? Nobody would ever dream of doing anything to harm them, and yet they were used as target practice back in the day. So here you've got these staff members loving them, caring for them, feeding them, making an entire career of ensuring that these animals' lives were healthy and safe. And that changed a lot around here, and ultimately changed a lot worldwide. The children who ended up coming to Marineland in the 30s and the 40s became the voting adults of the 1970s. And the reason that matters is because the 1970s is when both the Marine Mammal Protection Act and the Endangered Species Act were passed. And that's not a coincidence. That was the first generation of voters who had had the chance to see these animals up close and realize what a planet without them would look like. And they didn't want that. So really formative experiences, both for the staff, that was a crazy career they probably hadn't planned on, and for the folks who got to observe them. And it's still true that I can stop at a gas station or grocery store. If I'm wearing my uniform, somebody will come up to me and say, diving at Marineland, that was my very first job when I was just a kid. So I'm hoping this brings some fun, sentimental feelings from folks.
Yes.
All right, so then we come on into this room. This is really a space to sort of talk about the history and the evolution of dolphin care and dolphin training. Over here on this wall, you'll see this first photograph here is the world famous jumping dolphin show. And this actually came about because I showed you that really heavy helmet in there. When the divers had to get in the water to feed the dolphins, they really just wanted to get in quickly because it was heavy and it was nicer to be in the water where they were weightless. But dolphins got so excited that it was time to eat that they would kind of get in the diver's way, me first. So you can imagine a diver might throw a fish in order to just get the dolphin to sort of swim away while he could finish getting in the water. And the first time a dolphin caught that fish midair and the crowds cheered. Well, first of all, now we know they could eat above the water. And we also know that this is something the public likes to see. So anyway, that became the world famous jumping dolphin show. Now that really wasn't animal training, but it was the first dolphin show, and it really sort of gave rise to some folks questioning stuff. And what they were questioning was this long-held worldwide belief that marine animals could not be trained. And the reason folks thought that was because animal training requires a relationship that you have. And people thought, marine animals are so different from land animals that we'll never be able to really communicate. So we'll never really develop a relationship, so they can't be trained. that was the belief. But internally at Marineland, everybody was developing relationships with the dolphins. The jump master got to do that. The janitor who just walked by every morning and cleaned the windows and had the dolphins come play with him while he was cleaning. The guests who would come by and wave at the dolphins and the dolphins would play with them. Everybody was having these experiences that caused them to say, I kind of think we do have relationships. So finally, in the late 1940s, they hired this gentleman, this is Adolf Frohn, and he was given the task of seeing if he could train dolphins in a formal training method. And well, you all know how that story ended. A year later, he had trained 6 behaviors, and that dolphin is Flippy, and he became the world's first ever trained dolphin. And that really, obviously, revolutionized marine mammal parks. And so now you know that little, cute, small marine mammal park down at the southern end of St. Augustine was the first place that ever trained dolphins. That's cool.
That is cool.
So you keep on coming in here, and this corner over here is really a tribute to research. So much of what we now know, and really what every kind of first grader now knows about dolphins, was discovered at Marineland. So this is David and Melba Caldwell, and they did a lot of research with dolphin vocalization. So they would put hydrophones in the water. This is a sonograph machine here that would actually print out a visual representation of the sounds that they were hearing, and they were trying to figure out if dolphins had a language. So some of the studies that they did that ultimately led to the understanding of echolocation, dolphins' ability to use sound to see, and also dolphins' signature whistles, dolphins creating their own names for themselves. That was discovered right here at Marineland. So again, all these amazing firsts. Over here, this is Arthur McBride. He was the first curator at Marineland, published a ton of papers, a couple of which we have here on display, and really was the heart and soul and the core of where all the love for the animals came from when Marineland opened. So, first place to train dolphins, place where echolocation was discovered. Marineland was also the first place to successfully breed bottlenose dolphins, and so we have a certificate for that. And then over here, some folks came to Marineland not because they were particularly interested in the animals, but because the location is outstanding, and there were several great restaurants and bars where you could hang out, and also hotels if you wanted to spend the night. Now, the Dolphin restaurant, which was there, was actually managed by Marjorie Kinnan Rawlings' husband. So she was there a lot, and she hung out at the bar with her friend, Ernest Hemingway. So there's some great literary history there as well. So some of the old signs, old photographs, old drink glasses and coffee cups, old hotel keys. I really think this is going to bring some fun, sentimental memories for folks who spent some time here. The mermaid you've got over there, she was actually on the bow of the boat, not an actual boat, but a bar that was shaped like a boat, and a lot of people are going to remember that. That was the Rocking Ship Bar. It was the bar inside the Moby Dick Lounge, inside the Dolphin restaurant, and the bartender could flip a switch and the whole boat would rock. And that's how you knew you had enough. So this is the exhibit. As it is so far, it may grow, it may expand, it may change, it may evolve. We may add some video components, but this is our first foray into this world. I started at Marineland in 2001 as the education director. My job was to teach people about animals, do summer camps and school field trips. So this is new for us, and we're just excited. These are stories that need to be told. People just sort of take for granted there's this cute little place where you can see dolphins in St. Augustine, but it's more than that, and the people who started it deserve to be honored. So that's what this is about.
Thank you so much for leading me around and teaching me a lot. And now we've got all these literary references to the to Marineland that I didn't even realize. It's so exciting.
It's not just dolphins.
Well, thank you both so much. It was really great to meet with both of you, and I guess hopefully everybody will be able to start coming in mid-May.
Right, just a few days.
Yes.
Just see the look on our faces.
All right, well, thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
If you're interested in this topic, come check out some of the titles that we have in the St. Johns County Public Library system that might pique your interest, like Surf Shack, Laid Back Living by the Water by Nina Freudenberger. There's also another book called Surf Shacks And this one actually has a St. Augustine home in it. Or how about Surfing in Florida, a photographic history by Paul Aho. We also have several surf movies, like the classic The Endless Summer, or how about Point Break. I believe there's a remake of this as well that we have in the system, or Blue Crush. And if you're interested in some of those Marineland topics, what about Whales, Dolphins, and Porpoises? Or Voices in the Ocean by Susan Casey. Wow, we have so many more at the St. Johns County Public Library System. If you need some help, just ask anybody at your local library, or you can check out for yourself on our catalog, www.sjcpls.org. Well, that was so much fun and definitely a great summer activity, so I would highly recommend heading down to the oldest house museum complex and checking it out. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope we see you at the library very soon. Have a great summer. Bye-bye.